I basically got very frustrated with sitting down with people who had been trying to pursue their product idea and were going through a shitstorm. The horror stories we heard about them being ripped off by service providers and having people take their money to provide a specific function and never getting their deliverable. These are good people. These are moms that don't have a lot of time and don't have a lot of money. These are dads. These are young people who, you know, every dollar is very important. They're scrimping and saving to be able to pursue this thing that they know is very important, that they love, and the idea is, it breaks my heart when I hear these horror stories about all of their problems in the market. When I looked at the other available courses and information and industry resources and go to the events and the courses that are available, I didn't see anyone really trying to explain the dangers involved. They just don't emphasize enough that if you make a few bad moves, it could just derail your entire project. So we wanted to make sure that our material was not only strategically correct, but it was wrapped in this buffer of, you really need to be paying attention to the choices you make, because they're going to dictate your success or failure down the road. Well, the catalyst came when I had a phone conversation with a woman in California who had designed and developed a fashion accessory, and she had created the accessory for her daughters. She had been pursuing this project for several years. She was on her 5th year, and she had gone through her entire savings. She had sold everything she had. She truly believed in this product. The reason that she was failing had nothing to do with her product. It had everything to do with the approach that she took and the people that she had chosen to work with. In our 2-hour discussion and her laying out this horror story of poor choices, of misunderstanding the process, I realized that she was the one. She was the person that I wanted to help out. I have something that can help someone, and even if it's just one person, I should do that. So the Academy started manifesting as our way to serve the industry that we work in. I've been an entrepreneur for 20-some years, and I have successes and failures of my own. And one of the key factors to my successes over the last decade was because I go forth with the mentality of serving others instead of serving myself. If I can only help that one inventor, that one person, that stay-at-home mom, that dad who's working in a job that he hates but has an incredible idea, that engineer who is just a cog in the system, if I can just help one of those people realize the power of what they have, the idea that they carry, and realize that it can change not only their life but other people's lives, then this project will be a success. When I was working on my 2nd or 3rd project, and it was the first time that I had met someone who was an insider in the industry and was willing to take the time to sit down with me and explain the process. Prior to that, they never cared about whether or not I learned anything from it. And it was so impactful for me to have this person take that kind of effort that it gave me fuel to keep going. The mentor that I finally found not only made the whole process make more sense, but overnight changed my mentality on how I approached the projects, how I was an important player. I stood up for my ideas. I held people accountable. I grew some balls. I researched things. I got pricing from other options. I forced them to explain to me how that worked. And I wouldn't accept anything but a complete understanding of what I was being sold. I was going to have to educate myself to the process. I couldn't dream about it any longer. The frustration of not doing something had finally grown to a point where it forced me out of that comfort zone. I quickly realized that the information that was available, none of that information was made from my situation. I couldn't afford to quit a job and go to college again. I couldn't afford to stop everything and move to an incubator and pay rent to be around the right people. I couldn't afford to move to a different city where these resources were more readily available. And so I had to do something right where I was, grow where I was planted. By piecing together pieces and parts from other people that I was working with and other projects that I had helped develop, that new system I had was special, that there wasn't anyone really doing it like this. My process was built for the common person to be able to take that idea and go after it. So this course, from idea to finished product, covers the entire landscape from bringing an idea out of your head onto sketches and sketchbooks and manifesting that idea all the way through a finished product, a packaged product that you can sell. In between, we demonstrate what it takes to be a successful inventor. We have you do a personal inventory. We walk you through the ideation stage, the concepting stages, how to tell if you have a good idea, how to choose the right idea, the iterative process of developing products, which is a constant iterative process, how to surround yourself with good guides and mentors, how to make sure that you have the right resources and time available. You'll learn how to be an inventor. Module 1 covers the personal inventory that you need to make. It goes over your resources, teaches you how to develop mentors, demonstrates the journey that you're about to take. The Module 2, the idea, is what do you do when you first have the idea, and you've got it in your head, how to get it out onto sketches, create mood boards, develop that into a scope of work, the prototype, the rough mock-up, for you to validate the idea, knowing how to choose the right idea, how to develop more ideas, validate that idea in the marketplace, teaching the inventor how to determine the value of their idea and its worth with potential customers. We like to give the overview of the patent process so that you know and understand enough that you'll be able to choose and work with the right patent attorneys, and a lot of other techniques that'll help you protect yourself through this process. One of the benefits of the internet is it connects everyone and allows us to bring these ideas to market. But protecting your idea in that landscape is much different than it used to be. There are a lot of new tools out there available today that were not available just a few years ago that help you keep control of your intellectual property, We show you how to find and work with the better attorneys. Not only are there ways to protect your idea through patents and trademarks, but there are other ways that you can document and protect your idea through that process. And so we teach you unique ideas and ways to keep your product safe. Once you've validated the idea and you have a pretty good protective barrier, we like to take you into the next phase, which is knowing and understanding what your costs are going to be. You need to gather all your costs and know what to expect ahead of time. This will help you prepare and find funding, the right kind of funding at the right time. You're not going to be one of those people on Shark Tank who don't know their numbers, who aren't sure how you're taking it to market. We want you to be very well prepared for the investment process. There are a lot of funding resources today that were not available just a few years ago as well. We demonstrate the techniques for pitching to investors, the types of investment money that's out there and available. We also go into how the crowdfunding platforms work and a few of the techniques we've used in the past to fund some of these projects and getting them from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 to finally a finished product. And we show you what those funding sources are, how you interplay those into your project at the right time, as well as help put together an investment package and show you how to pitch to investors. And finally, we go into the stage of making the product. Making the product is the manufacturing process. We go through the industrial design, the engineering, the iterative process of prototyping, and we try to give you the tools you'll need to make sure that you navigate that with success. There are manufacturers that are available now that weren't available a few years ago, and we'll demonstrate how you can vet those manufacturers, gather the pricing you need, and implement the right way to create margins around your product. Pricing is another area that we go into because it is a very, very confusing aspect of bringing a product to market. You need to know you have enough margin in your product that you can do the things necessary to find success later on. Without the right level of margin, you're not able to create a business. And if you can't create at least profit on paper, you're never going to be able to create profit in a business. And profit is really what drives the success or failure of a products company. In the final module, we also teach you how to put together a request for proposal so you can gather prices early. The earlier you gather your prices, the better off you'll be as you go forward. We go through a very comprehensive financial pro forma that can help you determine your margin levels as you're going through this process. And if you do all of these parts right, the outcome will be a successfully made quality product that you'll be able to integrate your marketing process behind and develop a good business. It's 11 hours of online videos that are broke up into small chunks. So you can watch video at your leisure, at your time, at your pace, anytime you want to, anywhere you want to. We've also added templates, which are very handy to use in your own process, checklists so that we give you some action items to go after, and a launch plan, which is very imperative to any project going forward. You also have full access to the advisor group that I've put together for this particular course. These would be engineers, industrial designers, and manufacturing experts that can help answer questions as you start to navigate your own process. And we realize that without accountability, it's really hard to get going. And so we have given you access to the Inventors Clan. It's a private Facebook group where me and my advisors interview other experts. You're able to ask questions, and it's a group of your peers that can help give you the motivation you need to keep going. I have literally seen people's lives transformed by taking that first step, by getting outside their comfort zone and pursuing the next thing. Anybody who's carrying an idea around in their head and they just can't let it go, I was one of those people. I'd have to say to them that don't stop, don't not pursue it, go after it. You owe yourself, you owe your future really the truth is that the idea, there's really no bad idea. There's just good ideas or ideas, and then there's really good ideas. The person behind the idea is everything. They're the ones that will see this through. Those are the people who have taken some of, quite honestly, the dumbest ideas I've ever seen and are making millions of dollars. It's because of their tenacity, it's because of their grit, it's because of their belief. That's what makes an idea great, is the person behind it. It was less about my product. It was more about me and my tenacity in it all. It was about me picking up and learning those little tidbits that you only get through failure. And I wish that someone would have shown me the process from an individual standpoint of this is how other individuals started. The reason that the material in our program, I think, is more effective than most out there is because we built ours for sort of the everyday person, someone who has a day job, for someone who has a family. We know that they're not going to quit their responsibilities and go back to college. We know that they're not going to go sign up for a long-term incubator program. These are people who can access the program online anytime and learn from other people who have done it the exact same way. But if you want to be a multimillionaire, you don't go take a look at what multimillionaires are doing and then do what they do. You know, you don't go out and buy the yacht and the 20,000 square foot home because you want to be a multimillionaire. You look back on where they got started. You start where they started. I wanted to reverse it all the way back and say, this is how people start when they have nothing, when they don't know how it all works. And once you walk through and you give someone the entire scope of what they're going to be facing, and you lay it out in a way that they can understand, you remove all of the industry vernacular and put it in layman's terms, their chance for success goes way up. There are millions of people with great ideas, and they don't pursue those ideas because of fear. We want to be able to provide a way for those people to know and learn how this works so that they can take that first step and then the second step and the third step. And eventually they'll have a product, and it can change, it will change your life. Most of the books and most of the online education that you can access, they teach you a lot of tactics, but they don't teach you the philosophy of what you're about to experience. How to learn how to vet people, how to get the most out of very little, navigate the choices that you have to make better choices and avoid those horrible mistakes. I think it's important for people who are in that position, who have been carrying around this idea for a long time. I think it's important for them to be able to see this process from the very beginning all the way through the end, much like if they were going to climb a mountain and they're able to take a look at the map and they know all of the obstacles that they may face along the way. It also gives you confidence in your endeavor. The difference between the people who make it and the ones who don't are the ones who know that those are coming, know that those hard times, and they're prepared for that. The market has went from total control by the big corporations, and they controlled every aspect. You couldn't hire an industrial designer at one time unless you hired them as an employee. You couldn't have access to manufacturing unless you could prove that you were an ongoing business entity. You couldn't get to the consumer without breaking through the distribution channels that were locked down. And that's no longer the case. All of that has been removed. Never before have we experienced such an amazing transformation of being able to, for the individual to have the power. A lot of that change that has manifested is not only, I mean, the internet obviously was the tool that allowed it to change, but the mentality of all the players in those different areas has changed. The manufacturers realize that the individual person with the gumption and a good idea can make that manufacturer a lot of money. The best players have left corporate America and are out on their own because they know they can make way more money. There's no ceiling for them if they go out on their own. There's so much work out there now. It's wonderful that we now have this option to hire individual freelancers, to hire small boutique firms, and get a product produced for a fraction of the cost of what it used to cost. And what we're seeing is this huge influx of talent in the marketplace that is readily available if you know how to find them, and more importantly, if you know how to vet them out and find the people who are going to treat you fair, treat you honest, and do the work that they set out to do. We started putting this material together for our own processes to help us fine-tune how we approach a project and how we move it along and make decisions. And I like to extract the best practices out of what we've been doing and how things work better than others. And also, I've surrounded myself with some of the best people in the business as friends and mentors who have amazing processes that we also put into this mix and collaborated with to help make a really well-rounded product. We didn't want it just to be from our perspective. We wanted to create products that anyone could use. We wanted to break a seemingly very complex process down into small bite-sized chunks, and in a manner that anyone who has an idea can understand how it works. The world needs new ideas. Our country needs new ideas. Innovation is what drives our economy. Innovation is what keeps America, the greatest nation. From idea to finished product is the first project that we undertook. And we did that because there are quite a few product marketing resources available. The big hole that we saw in the market was a program broken down on how to take that idea from out of your head and put it on paper and walk it through the entire process, from industrial design to engineering to getting the product funded to gathering up your manufacturing costs, the right way to do a request for proposal, how to vet vendors, how to know whether or not you need a patent, how to navigate the manufacturing process. To, at the end of the day, you have a product you can sell. I think inventors are very, very special people who have the ability to look at a problem and come up with a unique solution that the world has never seen, or a combination, which is normally the process, is combining two elements to make a new thing. That's a special mind. And this is the first step. This is the step you take to know how to plan and how to prepare to go after that product idea, to go after that market, to someday have a future that is the future that you have created out of your idea that was in your head. And the power in that is the innovation behind everything that we have are those special people and those special projects. I definitely see a future where one of the graduates from our course is going to change the world. There's going to be ideas that clean water, that feed people, that clothe people, that protect people. People carry ideas around that are game changers. And I have 100% certainty that someone is going to come through our course and come out the other side and bring one of those game-changing ideas to life. I totally believe it.